The Museo Experimental El Eco was built in 1953 by the artist Mathias Goeritz. Goeritz came up with the idea of a space that would incorporate all the arts. The original project lasted less than a year, and then after that the building had many different uses. But in 2005, UNAM, the National University of Mexico, bought the building and restored it to its original form. It's quite an important building in the history of modernist architecture in Mexico. Kind of a permanent site within the museum is this small gallery that presents the history of the museum, the many lives that the Eco has lived as a building, and also information about Mathias Goeritz. And we're trying to document all these stories that artists might be able to use. The artists we're inviting to do projects here, but also just to kind of keep this kind of imaginary about the building alive. Currently we're presenting 2 commissioned projects by 2 different artists. Héctor Zamora's project plays in an interesting way with the building, with this emotional architecture of the building. You walk down the hallway and you're expecting to see his show in the main gallery, but the main gallery is empty. The window to the central patio is sealed and you're only allowed to look out, almost like a shop window. The piece is called Offered Paradises. So he's kind of offering you this world of entertainment, but blocking it. He was born in Mexico City. For the last 4 years, he's been living in Sao Paulo. He tends to work on quite a large scale. His recent work, he's dealt quite a bit with inflatable structures. For the 2009 Venice Biennial, he did a large blimp structure and created a whole kind of fiction about there was a blimp convention in Venice during the Biennial, which was actually not true. Erlea Maneros Zabala upstairs. She worked with the archive of Mathias Goeritz, which is quite a large archive with images about his work and newspaper articles. And she became particularly fascinated with a documentary photographer who documented a lot of Goeritz's work in the 1950s. And she actually appropriated some photographs of that documentary photographer and re-photographed them, manipulated them. And she's interested in showing the behind the scenes of the myth that's Goeritz. Originally from Bilbao in Spain, she was educated at the Glasgow School of Art in Scotland, where she studied traditional painting techniques. And then from there she moved to LA and went to Cal Arts. She's quite interested in sort of the conceptual side of contemporary art, but also the material side, and how the materials that she uses can actually be conceptual, political, critical. We do 8 projects a year. We also commission dance pieces, spoken word and poetry projects, music events. Each year we do an architectural intervention in the central patio, inviting younger architects to experiment with the space. So we're trying to kind of rejuvenate the original mission in a contemporary context.